brand new, something that would be a big deal in any era, but certainly right now, the Trump DOJ has gone in and filed unusual charges. I have them here. Unusual charges against a current congressional candidate, a member of the Democratic Party, Kat Abu-Ghazaleh. Now, there's video from September where she was in this group of protesters. This is in front of an ICE vehicle. Now, she claims she was protesting peacefully, and an ICE agent tried to run them over with the SUV. Now, this is the kind of situation that happens sometimes at protests, and certainly is legally debatable. I'm not telling you it's something where there's no way anyone could have ever been charged. But the government is taking a very aggressive approach to the person who's running for office, the person running in the midterms, not necessarily to every other person there. And they say that she, along with a few others, banged aggressively on the vehicle's side and back windows, crowded together in the front and side of the vehicle, and pushed against the vehicle to hinder and impede its movement. And they say somebody etched a message into the body of the vehicle, the word pig. So the DOJ is charging a conspiracy to impede or injure an ICE officer and assaulting or impeding an officer while engaged in their duties. I could just tell you legally, we showed you the video, whether the car was more of a danger to hurt the people or the people were in danger to hurt the car is certainly debatable. And this is no small little election item. The kind of charges she is facing from the federal government here could carry over 10 years in prison. She is a midterm candidate, and this is her response.
My name is Kat Abu-Ghazaleh. I'm running for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois. And the Department of Justice is charging 6 people, including myself, with federal crimes for exercising our First Amendment rights near ICE's Broadview Processing Center. This is a political prosecution and a gross attempt to silence dissent, a right protected under the First Amendment. This case is a major push by the Trump administration to criminalize protest and punish anyone who speaks out against them.
There you have it. This is what politics apparently is going to continue to look like in Trump's second term. You can call.
You know, this indictment is something that should be stunning, but no longer is in light of everything else that we've seen. And Ari, as you were laying out all the developments, I was thinking about something so important for your listeners to understand, which is that this overwhelm that we're experiencing, right, this flooding and breaking of democratic norms on all fronts, it's not just a coincidence. This is actually a feature, not a bug of this administration. The effort to overwhelm us so we can't pay attention, which is why we should focus on this case. You know, this is a woman who's running for Congress, a Democrat. She's progressive. She's pro-Palestinian. She is, in fact, Palestinian. It's in essence viewpoint discrimination to prosecute her, but it's far more than that in this situation. So I think we'll see her file a motion for selective prosecution, because if we put her situation in light of the larger scope of incidents that we've seen, this is someone who was involved in conduct that a wiser prosecutorial office might say, you know what, she did, it technically violated the law. Maybe it's even a state misdemeanor charge. It's certainly not a federal felony. And when you compare what she did—
And a conspiracy for violence.
Exactly.
Is what they're charging,
when you compare what she did to January 6th defendants, who are all now pardoned, who physically confronted police officers, who attacked police officers, who threatened their lives, and you compare that to what she's now alleged to have done, the disparity between what this administration is willing to charge and bless comes down to the political views of the alleged defendants. And I think that in and of itself is an indictment of this prosecution.
And you note that some of this has become normalized, and yet that's amidst a time where there is pushback. In California, a judge ruling that one of these temporary prosecutors, where Trump is trying to avoid oversight by using these so-called acting and temporary appointees, a federal judge rules the U.S. Attorney in California has been unlawfully serving in the role. That's a type of pushback, and that they can't get away with that forever. And this talk of a so-called third term, which is obviously illegal, getting pushback from Trump's own appointee on the high court, as well as the Speaker of the House. Take a look.
There is the 22nd Amendment.
Really, I can't say anything else but just point to the 22nd Amendment.
I think the president knows, and he and I have talked about the constrictions of the Constitution, as much as so many of the American people lament that.
If you ask the question how many terms a president can serve, I would point to the 22nd Amendment.
I don't see the path for that.
How do we reconcile that some things which are supposed to be lines or walls are barreled through, and yet others, you could imagine the Speaker of the House in a different era saying exactly that about 10 of the other issues, including perhaps the misuse of tear gas and soldiers in the streets. How do you reconcile that?
The willingness of the other two branches of government to push back against Donald Trump when he exceeds the constitutional priorities of the Article 2 branch of government, the president has been almost non-existent, right? In so many important ways. I think that means when we hear both the Supreme Court Justice and the Speaker of the House telling Donald Trump that that Amendment 22 to the Constitution absolutely serves as a bar to a third term. And we see Donald Trump himself reiterate that today in public comments. We understand that a third term is a non-starter, and that simply won't be happening. But that doesn't mean that Trump won't continue to try to push through our norms and accumulate power for himself in unpredictable ways, in ways that will permit him to retain some semblance of power after he leaves the office of the presidency. It doesn't mean we should drop our guard in any way.
Joyce.